What's going on? So this is the first episode of Hey Bro, I got a question, or Hey Bro, let me pick your brain, or Hey Bro, you get it. All right, let's go ahead and move on to it. So my girl, she gonna read me the questions, and these are all the questions I'll be getting from everybody. So we gonna go over this, and hopefully this will be, informational for those trying to be in the 3800 game. So let's go ahead and get this initiated. Go ahead and hit me with the questions.
Hey bro, I want to mod my GP. Where do I start?
Well, what you want to start first is you want to make sure you got a legit shell. The 9703s is known to rot out on the rockers and the strut towers. So, and then you want to ask yourself how much you really want to put into this car. Set yourself a budget, and then go from there. Now, if you just want to just make the car reliable and stuff like that, the main things you want to look at is the lower intake manifold gaskets. Do those, and then flush the transmission fluid out, put a new trans filter in, and then put a shift kit in. Those is like $40. And get you a Transgo, and and then the valve cover gaskets and all that. You got to do all that anyway when you do a lower intake manifold. But just make yourself a budget, and make sure you don't want to, how would you say, you don't want to put yourself where you got to do something twice. So you want to do like a one-time deal. If if you're gonna do a cam build, or you're gonna do a rocker build and stuff like that, it'd be better to just do everything at once to save yourself money, because there's no sense of doing a bid or doing a lower intake manifold, and then 2-3 months later you decide you want to do a cam, because you got to take all that back off anyway. So just get it right the first time. If you know you're gonna do you a little build, just get it all done at once. All right, what's up?
Hey bro, my car is misfiring. What's the problem?
Okay, so the misfiring. So it could be a lot of things. Number one thing is usually the ignition control module, which is located underneath the coil packs. You got that, and then you have number one cause is dry rotted vacuum lines, which would be on the throttle body, sometimes on the vacuum tree. And then go over your vacuum lines, make sure none of them is cracked, ignition control module, or spark plugs and wires. And that's usually the main thing, is vacuum leaks or spark that'll cause a misfire. Or it could be, very suddenly, sometimes it could be the throttle position sensor or the idle air control sensor on the throttle body. It could be those two. So, all right, hit me up with the next one.
Hey bro, why is my car start and shut off?
Well, there could be a lot of reasons. You got to check for spark and fuel. Make sure you get spark. Usually what I do is I'll pull one of the spark plugs off the coil packs and then start the car. Look through the windshield and see if I see an arc come up. Then that'll tell me I got spark. And then you want to check the straighter valve on the fuel rail. Push that down. Crank the car. Make the fuel pump prime and push that down. See fuel shoot up or whatever. Or if you don't want to do that, just get you a fuel pressure gauge and screw it into the straighter valve and make sure you're getting 43 psi when you turn the key. But that's the number one. That's the two main things, is check for spark and fuel. And if you got I want to say anything under a 2000, they got a what they call a fuel pump resistor. It looks like a bar of soap with two wires. Usually when those go bad, your car will start and it'll shut right back off. And they're usually on the GTPs, they're like over here somewhere. Like, sometimes they're back here, or sometimes they'll be mounted up there or whatever. But when you do the fuel pump mod, or the fuel pump relay, or rewire, that alleviates that. Another thing you could do is there's a relay, the fuel pump relay, and here you bend tab, I think it's 82. Don't quote me wrong, I might be wrong, but you pull the fuel pump relay and you bend the tab, and that'll bypass the fuel pump resistor, and that'll help that. Another thing it could be is throttle position sensor could cause that. The crank position sensor, or not the crank position, crank sensor. The crank sensor is the number one cause of that too. Those are just a few things, but the main two things you want to make sure you got fuel and spark. All right, hit me with the next.
Hey, bro, I got reduced engine power. What's the issue?
Okay, so usually on the 04, that's the 04 plus thing. So when you get those, it could be the gas pedal. Gas pedals, the funny story on the 07, the gas pedal went out on it, and the bitch started driving by itself, literally. Like,
we have video.
Yeah, we got a video of that. Like, we was driving, and we hitting the gas pedal, and it's no response. It just said engine reduced power, but it got us home. It drove us home.
At the speed limit.
Yeah, at the speed limit, too. Crazy. But, yeah, it's usually the gas pedal. They'll do that, and a poor alternator or a bad throttle body on the 04 Plus, because it's got the electric throttle body on it. All right, what's the...
Hey, bro, why is my car idling rough?
Oh, it could be a lot of things. It could be, you know, bad spark plugs, vacuum leak. It could be a bad EGR valve hose. It could have a kink in the hose and have a vacuum leak out the hose. It could be a bad intake manifold. It's a lot of things you gotta diagnose. You know, to check. Usually, the best thing I do to check for vacuum leak is I'll spray around like the areas that creates vacuum with brake fluid cleaner or carb cleaner. And when you spray, if the car dies, then you know that's where the leak's at. But there's a couple things. What else we got?
Hey, bro, I'm doing a build. What cam should I get?
All right, so this is where it gets. Look, when you want to do a cam build, again, you gotta ask yourself, what's your budget? And keep in mind, when you do a cam install, you got to think of these transmissions. That's like the main thing, because you will kill these transmissions easily. I always have like a benchmark of 300 wheel horsepower on a stock transmission. My red sedan, a lot of videos back, I called Baldy. That was a Nick cam car. I was on a stock trans. I was like 305 wheel or 307 or something like that. I forget, but the stock transmission was good on it. So you want to stay around 300. Now, if you want to stay in the 300 mark, get you like a VS cam, a Nick cam, or S1X cam. Stay out of the intercooler zone. Just do the cam, put like a 3-2 pulley on, hit it zone, and then just be happy with that. When you want to do like full-size intercoolers and do bigger, smaller pulleys, and this is when you need to start thinking about a build trans. Now, I'm gonna use these two for instance. Like both of these cars right here. These is full-size intercool. That's an S1X cam car, and this is a VS cam car. Now consider, and then they both got 2.6 pulleys, and they're E85. I would not run these motors on stock transmissions. Hell no. So that's why it's taking so long with these builds, because we had to get the transmissions built. Now, when you get the transmissions built, you want to do it all: input shaft, 7/8 chain set, yada yada. You want to get all that done. So when you want to do a cam build, you better think about a transmission build if you're trying to be extensive. 400 horsepower out of an M90 is better off going turbo, because you better have deep pockets if you're trying to do 400 with an M90, because I've been there and done that. So, and usually the only two cams not from me, all right. Pretty sure somebody else achieved it, but from me, XPZ and the IS4 cams was like the only two. And you got to do heads, manly valves. Oh man, a lot. But if you want to stay, you know, good cams for, like, you know, I want to drive my stuff every day, stuff like that, get you an S1X or a VS. If you want to just not be intercooled, you're gonna stay on pump gas, and you want to stay on the stock trans, get a Nick cam. Nick cam got a nice drum line to it, and you know, it'll get you where you need to go and then have a little bit of power and stuff like that. But those are my recommendations. If you want to get extensive, you want to do a crazy M90 build, I'm team intense. So I'm gonna have to roll with the IS3 or the IS4. But I mean, ZZP's VS cam and Nick cam is crazy too. But I'm babbling too much. All right, let's get on to the next question.
Hey, bro, what size pulley should I run?
Okay, so you you gotta scan. Scan is key. You gotta scan. You gotta see how the motor is liking and stuff. And anytime you want to like pulley down, you gotta understand it's all due with flow. So when you add headers, when you add heads, when you add a ported limb, you letting the motor breathe more, and that drops boost. So whenever you do that, when you add a cam and stuff like that too, it drops boost. That's when you start pulleying down. That's the whole reason. Now, it also is based on what type of fuel you're running too. E85 is just great juice. It gives you so much freedom to do a lot of things where you're pretty much limited on pump gas. Yeah, so you have to scan. I mean, there's no way around that. You gotta start big first. You know, start big, see how the motor likes it, and then progress from there. And recommendations when you intercool, get you a Viramax intercooler pump, because some things, they flow so good, and it's a healthy motor when you do that, man. Your IAT temps would be great. All right, next question.
Hey bro, can I supercharge my DT?
Yes, you can. This right here is a full-fledged GT 01. It's an L36 in the toy. It's still an L36 block in here now, but when you do a top swap, you got to do the harmonic balancer. You got to get one off a supercharged engine. You got to get the coil pack bracket with the idler pulley on the bracket. Then you got to get a supercharger tensioner. Then there's another idler bracket that goes on the block. You got to get that. And then you got to get a supercharged lower intake manifold, L67 or L32 heads with the valve covers, and your supercharger. And you got to get fuel rails from a supercharged car. If you have one of these 9703, you got to get an L67 fuel rail, because these are return fuel system when the 04 pluses are non-returnless. So if you got an 04 plus and you're doing a top swap on that, you got to get an L32 fuel rail. And yeah, if you do a Gen 3 or Gen 5 swap, this is a Gen 3 right here. Just notice how that is shaped. That's for stock throttle body. But when you get into the Gen 5, you got to get a throttle body adapter plate. And if you're doing all that, you might as well just go ahead and get you a North Star throttle body. We can knock that out. This is a Gen 5 right here. So the difference, superchargers. This right here is a Gen 3. All right. Here you see the differences. And the one that's on the car is a Gen 5. So yes, you can. Do I recommend it? Hell yeah, because you get more compression and you get more power out of a natural gas aspirated block. Compression is 951 compared to a supercharged motor is 851. So yeah. Also take note too, when you do a top swap, you got to change the map sensor. You have to get the harness from ZZP. It's a plug and play harness. Yeah, get you an L67 map sensor, and I don't use the boost solenoid. I would do away those, so you don't necessarily have to do that. And yeah. Next question.
Hey bro.
Yeah.
What's the best 3800 to buy?
The best 3800 to buy. High compression, L36, L26. It's a preference thing. I like high compression. A lot of people talk down on the L26s, and they was like, "Oh, those are junk, this and that." You get a good motor, and it's tuned well, you ain't got to worry about nothing. It's when you do a build and you try to rush through it, is when you start popping blocks. You got to be patient with this. I've been working on that car I've been working on Hellboy for what, 4 or 5 years now, and I'm still working on it. You got to be patient with this. You can't rush it, because if you rush it, you're gonna blow it. Me, I'm team high compression. L36 or 26. Difference in between them two is 36 got cast iron rods L26 got titanium. The L36 will bend a rod when the L26 will snap a rod. Those are the difference between them two. But other than that, yeah, give me one of them. But an L67 and an L32, if you was doing a turbo build, I would use one of those because it's low compression and you could throw a fuckload of boost at those with a turbo car. So that's what I would do. If you're doing an M90 car, get you a high compression block. This is my opinion. I'm not saying this is the best idea ever. This is just me. You know, this is what if it's TERRELL was building the motor, this is what I would do. M90s, high compression. Turbo cars, L67 or L32, low compression blocks. All right. Yeah.
Hey, bro, I want to do a motor swap in my GT. What do I need to know?
You pretty much that's almost the same question as the other one. You could do an L67 and you can get you a motor out of a GTP or a Regal GS that's supercharged with the transmission. But if you do that, just change the wiring harness and grab the PCMs from it. That's all that is. But if you do a top swap, you got to get the PCM to it because the supercharged motors and the NA motors, right? We're gonna talk the transmission parts. You got a HD, you got a 4T65E HD and a non-HD. Now the non-HDs are 329 gears, and the HDs are 293s. So if you got a GT and you like, oh, can I get this GTP transmission and put it in my car? Yeah, you can. You doing yourself harm though, because it's got 293s. Because that's a long gear. Now you gotta get the PCM retuned. You might as well just supercharge it at that point. If you got a supercharged car, you got a GT with 329 gears, right? And you want to supercharge it. Do yourself a favor, get you a junk blown GTP transmission, take the differential out of it, and put it in the GT trans. That's what we did with this one. But this one's built now, but before, we just took a GTP diff and put it in this naturally aspirated 4T65E 329 trans. And we made it just as in par as a GTP trans, but has a beefier HD diff. And yeah.
Hey, bro, I know it's like 2 in the morning, but I need the answer to this question. I did a top swap and now my car won't start. What the hell, man?
Man, that could be a lot of things. Like I said, you got to check vacuum. Did you put the crank sensor back in? Do you have a harmonic balancer with a dual key? Did you put it in the right key? Is it 180 out? When you mod the fuel lines, did you kink the line within the line? So you would take the line off the fuel filter and blow air through it to make sure you're getting air out the other end. Is the fuel pump working? Is the ignition control module plugged in? You know, stuff like that. That's what you got to check. I went over that in a few questions back, but it's all leading to the same shit. You got to check for spark and fuel. You ain't got neither one of them, you ain't running. So I think that's the last question.
I got one more.
You got one more?
Hey, bro, you want to race?
Ha! I mean, if you're trying to, yeah. I mean, if you want to find out what the result, yeah, we can line up. I ain't scared. Shit. I'll try to fuck it. Look, just because I got 20s and stuff like that on my car, I'm not scared to drive that thing. I will drive the fuck out of it, man. Excuse me. All right, well, we're going to end it right there. I hope y'all enjoyed episode 1, man. We're going to come up with some more questions. I'll be getting hit up because people be hitting me up on my DMs like crazy, man. I'll be like, come on. I'll be at work and my phone be blowing up a question. I'm like, damn, man. And then I'll be at home in the bed, my phone be blowing up, or I'll be with my girl, my phone blowing up. So this is why we doing these videos, man. So hope this was informational. I've been trying to go straight off the dome. This is premeditated. This ain't even premeditated, man. This is just what it is. What it is. All right, we're gonna end it right here. I'll let your boy.